We played Yu-Gi-Oh! We made pipe bombs. We even dug deep and realized every game is better with fishing.
Hello everybody!
But now is the time where we play I Am All of Me from Shadow the Hedgehog with a Ninja Tyler Blevins stream in the background. Because we are finally gonna be looking at Shovel Knight Specter of Torment, the best Shovel Knight campaign.
Look at what we're launching. Now for N64 and Game Boy Advance. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
You can pet a fox in this game. Specter of Torment was released in 2017, and since then, I think I replayed it at least 5 or so times. This is the Shovel Knight campaign I always come back to. It's the most unique and fun campaign out of all of them in my opinion. It took basically everything from the first two campaigns, added some new stuff to it, and also made the main character an agile ninja Grim Reaper. Unlike Plague of Shadows, Specter of Torment has completely new levels for Specter Knight to traverse and fight his way through. This is the case because of Specter Knight's unique way of traversal and combat. Okay, so this may come as a surprise to some of you, seeing how I play League of Legends, but I am a huge fan of fast-paced movement in games. I love running around and destroying everything I come into contact with, and this campaign excels at giving me that experience. As Specter Knight, you can wall run, slash basically anything while in air, and then stay in air for an infinite amount of time, as long as you have something to slash. Oh, and for some reason you break blocks if you jump while standing on them. I have no clue what that is about. In the ice level, you can grind on rails with your scythe and pull off tricks when jumping off said rails, and for those of you with a keen eye, you can see I'm using the armor that gives you the ability to grind anywhere as long as you're wearing it. I really didn't care about any other armor except the one that makes you look all flashy, because unlike the other campaigns, I think this one actually looks really good. Anyway, the biggest challenge you'll face in this campaign is trying to not look badass. Specter Knight is already cool, except for when he doesn't have his cloak, fucking bald ass. He's also a little bit edgy, but when you manage to do like a scythe grind into a wall jump into a slash or two, it looks cool as fuck. This game is basically a Ninja Gaiden if the main character was actually as agile as a real ninja. Same as Shovel of Hope, every mistake that leads to your death feels like it's not the game's fault, but your own. Except for the few times you accidentally dash down right into a pit instead of going up because of the angle you're looking at an enemy. But that happens so little times that I'll be the bigger man this time and say that even those deaths were my fault, because I was too impatient and dashed into an enemy early. But you know what's not my fault and is actually your fault? Not subscribing to Ducklex and liking this video. While you're going around the levels, you might come across some red skulls. Some of them are hidden and some of them are just there in plain sight, and you can use these skulls to buy curios, this game's version of the relics. And fellas, I gotta confess something. Okay, so I actively used the curios during my playthrough. Unlike all the other sub-weapons in the other campaigns, all of the curios in Specter of Torment are useful, and not only that, some of them look cool as fuck. My favorite curio is the orb that lets you dash across the entire stage to the closest enemy. It's really good for going fast and also looks badass.
He's flying around the fucking map with his shitty sword. This is his fucking sing, sing, sing!
And some upgraded versions of these weapons can also retrieve gold you lost when you died. And speaking of which, one of you mentioned in my Shovel of Hope video that you can retrieve gold from some pits using the fishing rod. So I had to test it out by killing myself and trying it. And lo and behold, it actually works. So yeah, thank you for that. Anyway, the Claw Curio is great for cutting down bosses and tougher enemies in mere seconds. The coin that slows down time is really helpful during tough platforming sections. The Skeleton Sentry is good for dealing with enemies from a distance, and the skull that gives you health back is... it's just a phase locket basically. That's why I only used it maybe once or twice during my entire playthrough. But in New Game Plus, your will and darkness are combined, so guess what, fucko, you can't use the skull to get your health back anymore. The overworld is completely missing, but the hub area makes up for it. There's a lot of funny interactions you can see with the NPCs, and at one point I just wasted a lot of time by walking around the tower and messing around doing Horus's challenge. And perhaps the most important thing you can do in the hub area is playing with the Fennec Fox. As for the bosses, there's only 2 new ones, not counting the new versions of the Black Knight fights. And honestly, not a single one of them are even remotely difficult. Maybe it's cause I replayed this campaign a lot, but the upgraded claw makes you invincible while you deal a ton of damage to everything. So that, combined with a couple of dash slashes, is sure to destroy everyone and everything. The final boss is also probably the easiest one out of all the campaigns, but the way you actually fight the boss is also pretty unique, which is why I still like it. One of my favorite details in these fights is the anime-esque way they all end, with the screen going completely white and only the silhouettes of Specter Knight slashing and the enemy falling in battle are visible. Every couple of levels you get to play a flashback stage as Specter Knight before he died. The Game Boy Color scheme really suits these sequences, and while we're at it, let's talk about the story. Now, you may recall that in basically every other Shovel Knight video I made, I usually say that the stories aren't complex and are just there to complement the gameplay. Well, Specter of Torment is an exception to that. The story is tragic and also really compelling. It serves as a perfect prequel to Shovel of Hope. In that campaign, Specter Knight just looked cool and that's it. But this campaign gave him so much more character, and is probably what made him one of my favorite characters in Shovel Knight, along with the main man, of course. The final scene of this campaign is probably the most melancholic one in the series, because you get to see how the bad guys win despite Specter Knight's best efforts at the end of the game. In my opinion, right? This is the best Shovel Knight campaign. The level design is superb, which just shows how good the Octocloud games are at what they do. The small things such as the flashback scenes being in the Game Boy scheme and being able to do tricks while scythe grinding really made this campaign stand out from all the rest. That combined with an engaging yet easy to digest story is what makes this my favorite Shovel Knight campaign out of all of them. Well, that's it. We're done with Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. And no, I'm not counting the battle mode because it's not a campaign. When Shovel Knight Dig comes out, hopefully before Silk Song, I'll check out that game too. I also tried using new character stills for this video, so please tell me in the comments below if I should keep using them or if I should just go back to the old ones. Thank you all for watching. If you want to subscribe and like the video, I'd appreciate that, and if not, that's fine too. That's all. Bye!